everybody. What a great show we have tonight. I almost don't want to share it with you. So as you know, WNBA star Brittney Griner is stuck in a Moscow jail since February for trying to walk through Russian customs with a vaping pen filled with cannabis oil. It's the most press the WNBA has ever got over a traveling violation. Anyway, but really, how stupid is she? I mean, who tries to enter a foreign land with illegal substances?
You're going to get me put on a no-watch list.
It's true. Kat once left Thailand with a dozen ferrets. Don't ask her how. But at least if you're going to enter a country with drugs, be better at it. Maybe spend a day or two at our border to see how it's done. Or call this guy for some advice. Yeah. Yeah, you're clapping now. You're clapping now. Besides, isn't that why God made the rectal cavity? It's how I bring a liter of soda from home into the movie theater. Not to brag. But it's obviously an absurd arrest. And Griner pleaded guilty of possession. But then she complained that when she was arrested, the Russian authorities didn't read her rights, which is cute. That's like complaining that when you ate at the Olive Garden, the hostess didn't tell you the chefs aren't from Italy. We're pretty much the only place who reads you your rights, Brittney. That's one reason to stand for the national anthem, which Brittney doesn't. Meanwhile, Canada flogs you for mentioning rights, and that's why I go there twice a year. But now we learn the U.S. has offered to exchange prisoners in order to bring her and an American Marine, Paul Whelan, home. Biden reportedly backs the deal. So who are we trading for? Well, Victor Bout is a Russian arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death, whose weapons sales fuel deadly global conflicts. Russian officials have long wanted Bout back, who's serving a 25-year sentence in the U.S. after convicted in 2011 of conspiracy to kill Americans, deliver anti-aircraft missiles, and aiding a terrorist organization. He got another 25 for inspiring a Nicolas Cage movie. The prosecutors wanted life. Still, he's a tad more dangerous than someone who shoots about 35% from the three-point line. But now he could return to Russia in exchange for Griner and the Marine. Now, to some, this trade seems more lopsided than Trey Gowdy's haircut. Oh. And the U.S. State Department is usually against such trade since they incentivize countries to detain Americans and then they use them as bargaining chips. I mean, could you imagine if some country got a hold of this guy? This is why I rarely leave this country or my home. You know, I once went to Jersey and I was held captive by the governor in exchange for 25 women without mustaches.
A sexist would say.
That is really terrible. But I realized that if I were to go anywhere around the world, I'd be seen as a steal. Frankly, I'm worth an entire college football team. So like Spirit Airlines, these trades can be a threat to everyone traveling. According to our State Department. That's a great joke. But still, it seems heartless to leave two Americans languishing in Moscow prisons. So what would you do? I believe it's time for...
How do you complete a trade for a war criminal when your brain is made of spaghetti?
He's the Merchant of Death, and Griner plays for the WNBA. We went to WNBA fans for a comment.
Oh, my God. Oh, God.
That's not fair. I actually enjoy the WNBA because it's basketball without all that annoying dunking. So is this the most unequal deal since the colonists bought New York for some seashells? They get an arms dealer back who has vital info that Putin can use, and we get an American who knows how to dribble. But do we need that? We already have Joe Biden.
Count it!
Oh, don't clap yet. And besides, do we really need another 6-foot woman who spends her night playing with orange balls?
about that?
I told you not to clap. That was just disgusting. Horrible.
Oh my God.
People make me sick. But Griner's an American, and so is Whelan, an ex-Marine, and shouldn't we try to get them out? But it's not that easy. Victor sent weapons to numerous West African conflicts. He's buddies with some very scary people like Gaddafi and Hezbollah. And when it comes to terrorism, he's league MVP. But then there's that cynical voice in my head that says, aren't we all doing this game of tit for tat? The whole point of grabbing a Russian criminal is in case Russia grabs an American citizen. Two can weaponize civilians. When we capture someone from another country, he becomes not just an inmate, but valuable currency, unlike the dollar. So don't think of them as prisons, think of them as banks. And then get creative. It doesn't even have to be prisoners. What if we made more trades in which we threaten to send Americans that we don't want to foreign countries who don't want them either? Like, what if we offered them the cast of The View? And, you didn't hear the end of the deal. And in exchange, we get this Russian who is truly talented. I haven't seen a tongue move that fast since Superman mailed his Christmas cards. Yeah, see, you thought it was going to be disgusting. But it's a joke about licking stamps, I think. But think of the possibilities. We could trade Michael Avenatti, Jussie Smollett, Joy Reid, Morning Joe, the whole CNN primetime lineup. Every actor named Ryan, I hate them. Here's a few we could even give away for free. You know, like the guy who had his honeymoon in Russia? In fact, we could do our part to support Russian communism by sending all of these people. But in all seriousness, red meat, no need to clap. But in all seriousness, it's gotta suck to be the people who put in the hard work to catch the merchant of death. They probably risked their lives. But maybe if the trade gets made, they will get the credit and they will get the thanks. Because no one ever thinks of them when the people finally come home. Bottom line is, Americans must help Americans. Even if I said bad things about my country in the past, doesn't matter. And I'd hope that if I get arrested in some country, my president would do the same for me. Although I doubt Biden would free me, which is why we have to dump him before I go on my European vacation. So when a bunch of law enforcement tie me up and gag me, it's because I paid them. Let's welcome tonight's guests. My dad. His IMDb page is taller than he is. Emmy-winning actor, author, singer, and Instagram sensation, Mr. Leslie Jordan. She talks so fast, her sentences finish with a sonic boom. Outnumbered co-host Emily Campagno. The one time she served her community was in an orange jumpsuit. Fox News contributor Kat Timm. And he dropped a mic a week ago, and it's still falling.
Right back.
My massive sidekick in the NWA World Television Champion, Tyrus. So, Leslie, first off, I have to say you're my favorite Leslie, and my sister's name is Leslie.
Shut up. Leslie?
Yes, exactly. What's your middle name?
Allen, Allen.
My sister's middle name is Ellen.
Stop!
You're still my favorite Leslie.
Okay.
That's going to make her cry.
Oh.
I know, but we don't care, do we?
No, we don't give a
We don't at all. No, you can swear.
Okay.
By the way, have you ever been detained anywhere?
I've done some unfortunate incarcerations. You know, I've been... Yeah, is that detained?
Yeah, it's detained. So you were arrested?
Pretty much.
Who was your cellmate?
Robert Downey Jr. Seriously. Seriously, I walked in and sat down, and there he was. And then years later, I showed up, and he had forgotten I was on the Ally McBeal show with everybody. Callista Flockhart and Ellen DeGeneres' wife, Portia de Rossi, and Lucy Liu, and all of them. And Robert walked in, and I didn't... He looked at me and said, "Do I know you?" And I said to him, "Zip it." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Zip it." I said, we were in jail together. And I even remembered 152, pod A, cell 13, top bunk.
Wait, you were on the top bunk?
Actually, he was top, I was bottom. Bunks!
I don't know if you Bunks! That was cute. Literally, that's what he was talking about. What were you in for?
Drunk driving.
Oh, okay.
And several other indiscretions I'd really rather not discuss right now.
Do you think we should we make the trade?
Yeah, but you got to even it out.
Yeah.
Like maybe vodka, some furry hats, something. It's very uneven.
That's right. We could get a ton of vodka. I don't know what those hats are actually made of, though, right?
Yeah.
They could be just
Cat, probably.
Yeah, probably cat. They don't
Probably
like
cat.
Yeah. Speaking of cat, there's a cat over there.
Hey.
Tyrus. People keep saying if we had paid these athletes more in the WNBA, this wouldn't happen. What do you think of that?
Okay, listen.
Sorry.
Speechless.
It's women's fault.
Okay.
You don't go support women basketball. Guys watch our basketball. I go to guys' basketball games.
Yeah.
So yell at each other. This isn't our problem. If you don't put asses in the seats, you should not get paid.
Okay.
How is it everyone else's fault? It's like me saying I had my own show outside the building with no camera. I'm like, I'm not getting any ratings. It's not fair, guys. Why aren't you guys watching me? Because you have no camera. Not the point. You want to get paid more? Put the asses in the seats.
Yeah.
So look no more than other women.
We're too busy watching.
No, but they'll watch housewives throw wine at each other. 20 million of them.
Because they like the fight. They don't like the teamwork.
We'll add some hockey rules to the WNBA.
Should we make the trade?
Yeah, I think we have to because we're already a week in administration, and the only thing that I'm worried about is please don't send him first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they check the box, not the resume of the negotiator.
Right.
So they're like, we'll send them there, and they'll be so happy, and they'll send them right back, and then we'll have to make another trade.
Yeah, that's
so. Yeah, we got to make sure that we don't.
Got to meet in a neutral
like
place.
In a neutral place, yeah.
Like I don't know,
Sweden.
Radisson.
Yeah.
A Radisson in Iowa. Emily, you're a lawyer, although we have no evidence of that.
Take me as my word.
What happens when you get arrested in Russia? I mean, do you think she's going through a hard time?
Well, I'm not a Russian attorney, but from what we understand, it's not unexpected that she has absolutely zero rights and zero of the privileges, frankly, that we enjoy here in this country, because a lot of those rights, the way that they, especially in this administration, are afforded us are certainly more privileges than rights. I'll say this. Before I traveled to, for example, Malaysia, my professors made us watch Return to Paradise. And they remember that with Vince Vaughn and Joaquin Phoenix. And they were like, this is what happens if you are caught with drugs in this country that we are about to go to. And so not one person did any drugs in that country because we knew that the sentence for such was the death penalty at the time. And so the notion that there's anyone else to blame or that should hold accountability for not knowing the country's rules that you are going to when you are an American and therefore your rights stop at your border, to me is only a measure of disrespect for the country you're going to and sheer ignorance. And ignorance in this situation is not bliss. And the fact that we are trading the merchant of death to Putin while he is still actively invading Ukraine, to me, Biden's the merchant of death.
Ooh.
Like there is not enough vodka in the world to make this deal equal, although they can try. For the rest of my life, at least.
Wow, that's pretty strong on you. I remember before we went kayaking, my dad had me watch Deliverance.
Totally the same thing. You're right.
Yes, exactly.
You're right.
Emily, you clearly did not see Deliverance.
I did.
That is the worst fatherson trip in the history of the world.
Greatest, probably one of the greatest movies ever made. All right, Kat. Do you have any advice for Brittney next time she travels?
I mean, no. I'd say don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just excited because when I get home, I just got a really good idea.
What?
I'm going to ask my husband if I was locked up in a Russian prison, how long would you wait for me? And if he hesitates even for a second, I'll start a fight. I see all those TikToks about like red flags for toxic men, and I'm like, I'm like that. But yeah, I look. I mean, I think it's obviously not just for her to, be spending any time in a prison for drugs, but I don't think it's just when anybody does.
Exactly. But Russia doesn't care about your feelings.
No, I don't ask them to.
Yeah, that's good on you.
Yeah.
We also can't forget there's another person, the Marine, and we got to think about him. And he's a Marine. Who knows? I don't know if he worked in the CIA, but anyway, we got to consider him as well.
But that's the irony, is that this country imprisons people for marijuana, and yet they will trade the merchant of death to get someone else out from a foreign country's imprisonment for the same thing.
That's an amazing correlation.
And she goes to Russia a lot. She's a star over there on the Russian Women's Basketball League. So she knew.
Yeah.
It's not like she didn't know. It was arrogance, like what Emily was saying. So but we should get her home, because going to jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
For
Oh my
two
God.
Did she
canisters.
Of course, it's ridiculous.
Did she even try to tell them it was nicotine?
Yeah, I mean, but Russia does this a lot. If you're in a band, they will lose your instruments, and then it'll cost you $1,000 to find them. That happens when you go through customs. All right, they're yelling at me. We got to move on because we have so much in this show that is amazing. Mostly it's me, but it's okay about it. They're pretty good too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.